how this Brazilian Zouk dance can be one dance, but can be three dances. And sometimes we are dancing three different dances in one, or teaching three different dances, but we're not aware of it.
We are confusing what we are teaching this person right here in front of me for. Are we teaching them to social dance, or are we, without the intention to, giving them tools as if they were going to perform or as if they were going to compete?
What dance am I searching? Even within the social dance, what dance am I searching? Look, this is how I love to dance. This is not how I'm going to get the most likes and shares and views and all the things. This is my true, honest, genuine, authentic dance.
I never once heard my teachers ask the students to engage core. Never once in a regular class. Never.
But a lot of the times when people are training for Jack and Jill, they're trained to become the most attractive to the judge, not to their partner.
You are social dancing, you have the social dance chip on, time for line up for Jack and Jill, put the other one and root, transform the whole thing. And you have a choreography to perform that night, put the other one, whoa. I think this is a tremendous skill.
That's the important thing. Don't let others create the reality that you live in. And I think that's kind of like the line of the episode. Be aware, be conscious, be genuine, be authentic, be honest. Don't let others create the experience that you have within your dance, within your learning, within your journey, anytime. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Alisson Sanji, and let's welcome back the beautiful co-host, Gui Prada.
Hello, Alisson. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
In today's episode, we're going to continue the teaching things, the class things, and how we have experienced things and learned and share everything with you. Today, we're going to talk about how this Brazilian Zouk dance can be one dance, but can be three dances. And sometimes we are dancing three different dances in one, or teaching three different dances, but we're not aware of it. If that doesn't make sense, let me put this into context. For example, we have three, okay? The social dance, the competition dance, the performance dance. Three exist at the same time, but they can be, and we want to talk about how different they can be, completely separate. What sometimes bleeds from one to the other, what doesn't, and how when we're teaching or learning, we approach them differently. So let's talk about the inspiration for this episode and why we want to bring this to you. Let's start with you, Gui. Why should we talk about this, and what are people going to get on this conversation?
Yeah. First, our previous episode.
If you haven't listened to it yet, please go back, because that was very interesting. Mechanics, feeling, connection, what's going on? How do you learn or teach that?
Yeah. And the other one was recently here in Taipei. I went to watch a performance of a very incredible dance company called Hofesh. And by watching it, I was reminded of how incredible dance can be. Like athletic, beautiful, artistic, all this thing. It was crazy. It was so beautiful, so inspirational. And of course, as a person that is constantly thinking about dance and teaching and getting better at my craft, I was reminded that the partner dances, our dance, Brazilian Zouk, partner dance, has different manifestations. Like you mentioned, Addison, you have its core manifestation, which is the social. It's a dance that was born and came out of this desire to social dance, to dance with each other. And then we take that dance and take it to the stage. So we make it bigger, we make it, we put the lines and we make it more athletic, let's say.
More intentional to who is watching.
Exactly.
Not to the person that is dancing with you necessarily.
Perfect. When you put in the stage, you change the witness. You change the spectator.
Yeah.
And then you have the other manifestation, which is the competition, where you take the dance and you come up with standards. How do you know who's better than the other person? So you create standards, and then you create a way to see who is going to get first place, who's going to get second place, and so on. So
based on whatever standards that competition wants to reward.
Exactly.
It may be a BZDC Jack and Jill, it may be a other something Jack and Jill, and they reward differently.
Because the choreography one can also be the competition one, because you can also compete in the choreographies, you know. So you can have the social dance competition or the improvised performance, or you can have the choreographed performance.
Or let's get more confusing. You can also have the social dance show, which is a lot of the demos after class.
That's true.
It's a social dance performance. It's not a social dance for the party.
Exactly. So you have the social dance performance, who is not to be judged by a panel of judges with a criteria, but is to be
judged by the likes and shares.
Exactly.
Social media.
So now you have actually 4 manifestations of the same dance, you know, and we started this with 3.
It just multiplies. It multiplies.
Like less than 10 minutes into the episode.
Guys.
And what was my realization watching the performance and then philosophizing about it afterwards? Paloma was with me and we talked about this thing so much. Sometimes what happens is a confusion. We are confusing like what we are teaching this person right here in front of me for. Are we teaching them to social dance? Are we giving them the tools to social dance? Or are we, without the intention to, giving them tools as if they were going to perform or as if they were going to compete? Unintentionally giving them tools and things to think about that for the social, they don't need that much. They don't need as much. And then I was reminded of my experience of teaching private lessons recently in Australia, where I had 2 follower students that they told me very similar things. And one of them told me like that. I'm almost like paraphrasing, almost quoting what she said. I am dancing not to go crazy. I'm dancing not to go crazy. My work, my job is very demanding. And I do this as a mental health tool, you know?
Yeah, like an outlet to just let go, disconnect from the reality that is work and professional life and responsibilities.
Exactly.
Yeah, so not here to be assessed, examined, or impress anybody.
Exactly. And like my therapist used to say, because she also used to dance, she also dances partner dancing, and she says, dance is not therapy, but it's highly therapeutical.
Movement.
Yeah, movement, connection with another person. And in the private lesson, what was the issue? Balance. She was losing balance. And what was the diagnosis that they gave to her, that she received from some teachers? She was not engaging her core. She was not pointing her feet.
The usual.
And she was a woman past her 65. She was between 60, 65, and 70 years old. And then when teaching the class to her, I realized they might have given her a tool for a manifestation of the dance that is not interesting to her right now. The manifestation that is interesting to her is the social. How do I make this easier on my body? Because I need an outlet for my very demanding job. And what we worked on was her weight distribution, basically that. And when we worked on the weight distribution, her balance was there. It was not about engaging her core. It was not about pointing the feet. It was not about the lines of her legs that were off. None of these things. It was mostly about she was stepping too far into her toes. So she was constantly losing balance because her axis was too far forward. And we worked on managing that, where her spine is in relation to her feet. And it was there, you know, and she almost got emotional because of that, because she thought something was wrong with her. So sometimes, my people, we inadvertently convey a content to someone or a manifestation of the dance that is not what they're looking for. You know, so if the person tells me, if somebody comes to Alison and says, Alison, I want to choreograph something, can you watch me? His eyes are gonna go to okay, what this manifestation of the dance needs, positioning. In this part here, you are back to the judges or you're back to the audience. We need to work on your being facing like your arm is too short. So let's work on those lines so you can see your body. So it's a different, a whole different set. But maybe that exact same dance you put in a social, this is perfect. Because if you do this with your arm, you're going to hit the person next to you. You know, your direction is more related to floorcraft and the space that you have to travel. And that, like, this was a domino effect of many other considerations about how we teach, who we teach, what are they looking for, you know, all of that.
Yeah. For me, whenever I have a private lesson and I don't know exactly what they want because they haven't told me or we haven't met before, I'll start with a couple of questions. What would you like to work on? What's working in your dance? What's not working in your dance? Then from there, maybe I move into another question. What is your relationship with dance? Are you just social dancing for fun? Are you social dancing to compete? Are you social dancing to do any choreography? If you're a teacher, do you want me to train you as a dancer, but also give you the knowledge as a teacher or a choreographer? Multiple levels, because that is going to change the information that I give. Not because I give less or more, but the focus. You know, the result is going to be the same or similar. But if you tell me, look, I am training for competition. Okay. So then the feedback is going to be more directed to how I am seeing from the outside and how the judges will perceive what you are trying to show. Because you can tell me, look, I'm trying to show this. I dance with you and I'm like, yes, I feel it. And then I watch you, I'm like, I don't see it. Because sometimes I cannot see some invisible things like, oh, I want to dance comfortably. I can feel that. But when I see you dancing, it doesn't look comfortable. Vice versa. You know, it looks comfortable from the outside. It's not comfortable dancing with a person. So yeah, it's very, very tricky. And I think a lot of dancers, as they're learning and taking private lessons and going for weekends and workshops and retreats and all of that, they haven't stopped to think about that. What dance am I searching? Even within the social dance, what dance am I searching? The more high energy type or the more chill type? The more traveling type, the more on the spot type. And this is something that with our work in DC, we always exchanged, because Gui and I came with almost the same time in dance, but from very different ways of approaching the dance and working with the dance. So all the time we would go like, how do you do that? Because you're very good at that. And then Gui would come to me and like, and how do you do this? Because you do this all the time and it looks like you understand this. And we would exchange that because we saw that those things were missing in our dance. And we were interested to, at very first, experience it. Not necessarily like, oh, I'm missing that in my dance, but like, well, I haven't tried it. Let's see if that fits into how I like to dance. And then once you try it, you may go like, yeah, actually, nah, that doesn't work for me. Or, oh, I love this. I want to implement and add this to the dance, but my own way. You know, I remember when you're asking me about pretzels. And I'm like, okay, pretzels, because it's something that I've always done. But then we come to the problem that Gui has a shoulder that may not be there by the end of the dance. Yes. if he tries to do some of the stuff that I was doing. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, if the follower pulls me here, I'm going to hospital. And I'm like, okay, then maybe not that one.
Yeah. I have hypermobile shoulders. Depending on certain situations, yeah, you can really...
You know, like I remember when I was competing and performing a lot, doing a lot of performance and competition, my body was just a brick on, and I was working out like crazy, and like my body was ready for a show any minute. I wake up, I'm ready for a show. Lifting, throwing, doing all the acrobatics. So I'm like asking Gui how to do like a comfortable, relaxed embrace. My body was not able to process that because my muscles were always active and on and ready for something explosive. So it took me a long time of practicing and understanding to then sort of start feeling like, oh, okay, yes, okay, relax. That's what it relax means. And it's funny, every time, nowadays, it's different, but every time I used to go for a massage before or go to a physiotherapy or something like that, they always tell me like, hey, relax, you're so tense. You're holding it. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
I just exist like this.
I'm not holding. They're like, no, you're holding. I'm like, I don't know what to do. It's just how my body is at the moment. And then I used to think like in my head, pretend you're dead. Like dead. Like switch off because I am relaxed right now. I think I am relaxed right now. But by their like measure, I am holding my neck. I'm holding my core. I'm holding my shoulders. So I had to kind of like imagine like I'm fainting.
Yeah.
And then I'm in the bed and I'm like,
you go to the
faint. Because I'm in the bed and I'm like this. And I'm like, no, I'm relaxed.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
I'm feeling.
I don't know. I think as a dancer, we have this concept of like, this is relaxed. Look, I'm relaxed. No, I'm not. For a masseuse, I'm holding my arm. I'm contracting these muscles. Yeah. Otherwise, I would be like.
Yes, exactly. For them, we live, will be collapse.
And that's a comparison to like social dancing, performative dancing, choreography dancing, and all of those things where people want to be more comfortable, but 99% of their training and their social media, Instagram feeding and watching is Jack and Jill competitions. How?
Man, that's the big...
I want to be healthy, but I go to McDonald's every day.
Man, that's the big point, Like the association that I make, for example, is we all know the different manifestations of existing in this world. You can be a minimalist and have just things that you use and bring worth to your life. And that's possible. But then you walk around, you see outdoors all the time, and you see people with all these new things and all these cool things. So by exposure, you are subconsciously guided to go into the mall and look into stuff. And what is new, what's coming up.
If you're not careful, you become what the outside is pressing you to be.
Exactly.
It happens in dance.
So much. Because what we are more exposed to, and that has more effect in our psyche, because perhaps is what we understand is what is going to bring us belonging, approval, recognition, is that manifestation of the dance. That is the manifestation that I understand is perhaps the cool one, the good one. And then we just seek it. I was training recently with someone, and I asked the person, what is it that they are training recently? What is the topic of the training recently? And I wanted to understand more. And I realized that that person shared with me that they didn't know anymore because they were plateaus. They sort of lost track of what they were doing, why they were doing. And then after certain investigations, certain conversations, we realized that they were basically training the competition manifestation without realizing that they were doing it, because they were basically just training movements, just training mechanics. Mm-hmm. And that brings us back to our previous episodes when we talk about concepts and feelings. And then we decided to train a concept and a feeling. And that opened a whole new branch of things, all tied to the social manifestation of the dance. This is something that you're gonna do that people won't be able to see. Only that person that's with you will be able to feel it and notice it. And that's a training. So my recommendation to the person and also to everybody listening is this can be a good guideline for your training. What is it that I'm training? What manifestation of the dance am I training? Am I training the social manifestation, the competition manifestation, the performance manifestation, or this fourth one that is in between all of these things? Yeah, because if you're training the competition manifestation, you are training to look good to very specific eyeballs, who is going to be judging your dance based on how it looks like. If you're training the competition, you are training perhaps the routine that you just put together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? So you're training
like a choreography competition.
Yeah. You're training the choreography. If you're training the social, then it's a whole different game. It's a whole different game, So understanding what you're training and what for can be a good guideline for what you're training. And now I start to understand a little bit more when people complain in the social that people dance with them as if they were competing.
Mm-hmm.
I understand more now because they can feel that it is a different manifestation of the same dance. It's in the social, but it looks like we are in front of people watching. I understand it better now after this pondering.
Yeah.
And also remembering when I was researching Lambada in Brazilian Zouk history, I came across an interview with a guy called João Lambadeiro, old school. Mm-hmm. And he was saying that when Lambada became big and famous and went to the stage, a lot of the movements came up to make the dance look bigger.
Commercial.
Yeah. To make the dance look more visually appealing, they come up with movements to dance on the stage. So it was a performance, not choreographed. It was like improvised, but they came up with new movement, new patterns. And these patterns then went to the social.
Mm-hmm.
Boneca.
I think it happened to every dance. When you think about salsa, bachata, all the things, like what is the dance from the roots or from the social versus the dance on the stage? Nowadays, it can be a blur. It can be a blur because teachers are teaching the outwardly expressive dance in social dance-focused classes. So it's a course to learn how to social dance Brazilian Zouk, but the curriculum or the technique and the chosen ways that they're teaching is very focused on how it looks from the outside instead of how it feels and how the flow and interaction and connection works. So it's a big thing because I did that for many years. I did that for many years because when I was in Australia, Brazilian Zouk in Australia was like the hottest thing outside of Brazil. And in Australia, we were like the main Jack and Jill competitions that happened at the beginning for Brazilian Zouk Dance Council was in Australia and in Asia. So pretty much everybody was training for Jack and Jill. Like, if you're not training for Jack and Jill, like, well, who are you? Because there was almost... It's a joke. Of course, there was a lot of people who didn't want to or didn't like Jack and Jill, and that's fine. But it was a good 80%. Mm-hmm. So like at that point, my classes were very much focused on, okay, this is how you dance the cleanest, the most precise, with the most people, but focusing on the cleanliness, focusing on the precision, make sure that you open your body. And it wasn't like... It was less about the touch, less about the weighting, less about those things. It was more like, okay, we know the set of movements. Everybody knows the set of movements. We're training for execution. Mm-hmm. Okay, what's the execution that is going to get you to the next level, to the semifinals, to the finals? So it was very much about execution. And when people are training social dancing, but they're training Jack and Jill in the social, I think they're training execution.
Yeah. I think you said it all just now. Yeah.
And I think I'll go one step further from what you're saying. Like, what are you training? I'll go one step back or forwards. I don't know where it fits, but how are you searching for knowledge? Because if you're searching for comfort and you're searching for this kind of things, but you're attending these classes that are focused on performative dancing, or you're going for all of the weekenders and spending hundreds of dollars on teachers that are all about Jack and Jill in their dancing. You can see it. Like, they're not about the comfort. Mm-hmm. So like, if you want comfort, you go for the comfort. If you want Jack and Jill, yeah, go for the teachers who are like smashing at Jack and Jill the whole time. Go for the people who have what you want to have, instead of going to a Jack and Jill teacher to learn comfort. Mm-hmm. Or going to a comfort teacher to learn how to do the best performative dance in a Jack and Jill.
Yeah. And it's interesting because the same dancer can, for themselves, be very intentional about the manifestation that they are going for. If you watch, for example, some of the couples, they are really incredibly powerful in their demos and in their choreographies. And when they compete, we watch them social dancing and they're there. You know, and it feels amazing to dance with them. You know, so in theory, they could provide you with that information. However, that's not what you look for them to give you, you know, because the association that is made is another one.
I think it's something that happens to most artists when they are building a certain name or fame or credit on the community. Because when you look at the OGs, the people who have been around for a while, they're like, look, this is how I love to dance. This is not how I'm going to get the most likes and shares and views and all the things. This is my true, honest, genuine, authentic dance. Whereas like when I was, you know, climbing the ladder and doing the things, yes, I was trying to fit into the market and fit into like, okay, how can I get the closest to what everybody wants to see, but still stay true to myself? Kind of like that balancing act.
Yeah.
But then you get to a point that you're old, your back hurts, and you're like, this is how I love to dance.
Yeah.
Look, I can do the shows, I can do the choreographies, I can do the competition if I train, but do I want to spend all of that time and that I did in my 20s? Look, not part of my priority right now, so no, thank you very much. Let the ones who have the power and the energy and the fire right now do. You know, and maybe, yes, they actually prefer to dance a certain way, but they don't even sell that.
Yes.
Because maybe they're worried that they're going to get less views, less shares, less contracts, less money. Exactly. And it's a whole different episode.
Whole different episode. What we always say is the appearance economy or the impressions economy. Well, the optics economy of how you are perceived and what you think you need to do to fit, and then what you think you need to do to get the work you want to do.
It's that one line. We don't have social media anymore. We have attention media. We have interest media. We have algorithm media. Look at your social media app, whatever you do. Count out of, 30 posts that you see, how many are of your friends the people that you actually follow. And I'm talking about friends. I'm not talking about famous celebrity accounts or whatever. I'm talking about your Zouk people, your social dancing people. Mm-hmm. Like on Instagram, there is a way that you can go like, okay, you click at the top and you choose, instead of for you choose following. So you can actually see the people that you follow. Yeah. But because they've taken that away from us, instead of social media became attention media. And what do they want? They want you to spend the most amount of time on the platform. Yeah. Which is the business model. Can't blame it. Yeah. That's how they make money, and that's cool. But that really affects how people see the dance, how people see themselves belonging to the dance or not. Yeah. How they see themselves like, am I even good enough for this? Because all the videos that I watch, I could never do that. Like, yes, should I just stop dancing? Because I don't know. I don't see myself in the dance that I see on social media because it's interest media, attention media. Yeah. Go and look for videos of the people that you like to dance, but it's an extra step. You have to type the name. Yes. But I do that when I'm on social media. I type names. I don't let the thing just tell me what to do, because
you want to see what's up with the person that you actually want to see what's up.
Look for the people that you want to see. Search for the people that you want to follow.
Yeah.
In terms of classes, go like, okay, where are they teaching?
Yeah.
Instead of just waiting on whoever comes.
Yeah. And it's a very good point. Like, if we are only exposed to one of these many manifestations of the dance all the time, that's what we might associate with the good one, with the preferred one. And then you have this interesting scenario, like in the private lesson that I told you about, where that lady was really focused on, I want to social dance, meaning I don't want to make this much effort. I don't want to need to, study this hard to be able to do a thing, brings me joy, so maybe we might need to take a look at our curriculums, take a look at how we teach, take a look at all these things to see, am I teaching people to social dance, or am I, without realizing, teaching people how to perform, and make me really, in a way, nostalgic and now more understanding of the system of the dance studios in Brazil back in the day, where you had a very clear path for each of the manifestations. If you just want a social dance, you take the regular class, and it's about the interaction, is fun, is light, I never once heard my teachers ask the students to engage core. Never once, once in a regular class. Never. And then you have, for those who want it, for us, we go into a different training that we're going to learn the performance path. And then we're going to learn about intention, where you're looking at the lines, the things, and blah, blah, and all these things. And then we had the dance comp, which was a very specific place for you to practice choreography and all of these things. So you had all these different paths. Of course, in the social dance aspect, we do study aspects of choreographing. We do study aspects of performing for the artist's purpose, for the artistic purpose of, in the interaction with your partner, you can bring the drama, you can bring the cleanliness, you can bring the sharp, the soft, you can bring the things that the choreography brings for each other. And that was something really intentional that I noticed that they would do. We would do sometimes we would do theater exercises in the regular class, but to go out of our minds, out of the objectiveness of the patterns and the mechanics, and go into the subjective of a feeling or a concept, So one thing can totally help the other, but they're not confused with each other. And that's one realization that I had of the dance studios and how they were structured. A very clear path for the social dance, a clear path for the choreography and the performance, and a clear path to prepare you for the choreography and the performance. You didn't need to perform in any way, but you could prepare for it. So the training was very different. Then I would hear engage on core. Then I would hear mind this and mind that and all these other things. So very powerful realization that I had, and made me, again, have the desire to take a look again at the curriculum, take a look at how we teach things, take a look at how we talk about certain things, and to see how we are blending social, choreography, and performance in a way that helps this manifestation in their specific fields. So if the person comes for Jack and Jill training, we give them that content. And then we also bring aspects of social, we also bring aspects of choreography to help the competition. And the social, we bring aspects of this and this to help the social. But it's still having the social as the main element. So not saying that one of the three is better than the other, is really saying how intentional we are when we are teaching or talking about these different manifestations, and how can we use the other to help the one, one helping the other. So just we become more versatile dancers, the dancer that can compete, transform their bodies to compete. When they go into the social, they transform their body to social, and if they needed to choreograph and perform a choreography on the stage, they can transform their bodies and emotions the choreography and become a really well-rounded creature.
Yeah, there are things that we say in the community, like, for example, oh, it's nice to do a choreography, join a choreography because it improves your technique. It improves your execution. Yes, I agree. Because giving you that amount of repetition is going to make things stick really, really, really well.
Yeah.
But it depends on the choreography. Sometimes the choreography doesn't involve a lot of social moves. So then the choreography becomes just like these combinations of movements and shapes and things that don't really translate to social dance. So it depends on the choreography. For example, Jack and Jill. Oh, but if you're training for Jack and Jill, you're training to become the best social dance ever. Sure, if you're training for Jack and Jill, you can train to become one of the best social dancers ever. But a lot of the times when people are training for Jack and Jill, they're training to become the most attractive to the judge, not to their partner. So training for Jack and Jill is not the bad thing. It's how you're training for Jack and Jill. Training your choreography is not the bad thing. It's how you're training that choreography.
Yeah.
You know, like for me, choreography is something that is for people who already have a very, very strong understanding of the dance. Not for people who are starting to dance.
Mm-hmm.
People who have a very strong understanding of the dance, yes, go do a show, go do a choreography. Can beginners do a choreography as well? Yes, but it's a different type of choreography.
It's a different type.
Very different.
It's like when sometimes we had end of the year studio celebrations, they didn't have the choreography from the students. And they are to create engagement, to create community.
Yes, it's a fun choreography that focuses on the basics, focus on the things they learn over the last few months, and it can have elements and other things that make the choreography great. But it's a different type of choreography.
Mm-hmm.
Training for Jack and Jill, you can train for the expression, the execution, or you can train for adaptability, connection, like listening to the music, listening to your partner. Those are invisible things, but they're very visible for the trained eye of a very good judge. Like, to me, the execution is one thing, but the why, the how, the when, that's even way more important. Way more important because, bro, the amount of I've trained these 5 movements and I'm going to do them on Jack and Jill that I see.
No matter what.
No matter what. Music, what partner, what happens in the ring is insane. From the leaders and from the followers, like no matter who I dance with, I'm going to look like this and I'm going to do this stylings and I'm going to do this with the arm. It doesn't matter the song, doesn't matter the leader, doesn't matter anything. That to me is not Jack and Jill training. That's choreography. Like it's improvised choreography. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's a funny in-between thing that most of it is improvised with elements of choreography.
I think maybe the order is improvised, but not the execution is improvised.
Exactly.
It's weird.
Yes, the order is improvised, but not the execution.
It's weird. Or like the moment is improvised, but not the execution.
In the end, for me, is inviting everybody to mind about this thing, to sit down and think about, like, okay, what manifestation of the dance am I pursuing more right now in practice?
In reality.
In reality.
What not the one that you think you are.
Another one that you think your teacher wants to hear.
Or not the one that your teacher might be pushing you to pursue, but that's not the one you want.
Exactly.
You understand all of this?
Because I just realized there is a 5th manifestation of the dance. Is the teaching.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where you dance in a way for people to see the concept, for people to see the things, for people to see a very specific thing. So you train how to dance a concept. It's almost like in fashion, you have the avant-garde show, which is this crazy clothing that people are not going to wear in the streets. But
Depends. If you go to Paris or New York, you might see.
You might see. But
Just a joke, guys.
There's something called avant-garde. If you don't know, watch Project Runaway. I watched 6 seasons. So Avant-garde is those crazy looking clothes that you see in fashion shows. And I learned watching Project Runway that they are clothes, they are conceptual things. From there, designers will extract elements and then create clothes from those things. And in dance, the teacher dance would be that one. Like you are able to do a conceptual dance. You dance elasticity. How do you dance elasticity? The teacher's job. The teacher will dance elasticity. And so there is this other manifestation too that you can also train, and that's like the teacher trainings, all these things. So going back to the awareness in the invitation, what are you actually training for? What of these manifestations you're training? And realize if that was your initial intention. If you want to get better at social, are you training the social stuff? Are you really training the social stuff? If you don't know what they are, ask your teacher. What are the social skills? What are the things that I need to develop for the social? And if you're training competition, if you're training performance, if you're training teacher, just like really own it. I am training to compete. I'm training to get better at this thing, and that's fine. All these manifestations are amazing. For me, the only thing for me is the awareness of them, the differentiation of them, because it's almost like dancing different dances.
Talking the talk, walking the walk.
Exactly. For me, it's almost like in Brazilian dance, partner dance, you have 3 samba de gafieras, 3 bolero, 3 soltinhos. After the 3rd bolero, you start the samba, you change the chip from bolero and put the samba chip, transform your body, go dance samba.
My teacher always say you change clothes.
Change clothes, exactly. And
Because you change the body, that's the idea.
Exactly. And sometimes you are in a festival, for example, you are social dancing, you have the social chip on, time for line up for Jack and Jill. Oh, put the other one and transform the whole thing. And you have a choreographer to perform that night. Put the other one. Whoa. I think this is a tremendous skill.
That's something that because my brain is so crazy and it needs strong guidelines, I do that. If I am teaching, I have clothes. I go and I teach. I'm going to judge now. I have to get changed. Wait, I have to get changed because this is my teaching clothes. My teaching persona is this. I have to put different clothes. And then if I'm going to teach again, I change again. And I say that to people who are competing Jack and Jill. I'm like, guys, help yourselves do better by giving yourself like a different feeling, different experience. So like if you're coming from workshops to Jack and Jill, go get changed and put like, okay, these are the clothes that I chose to compete in, the shoes, the everything. So then you already feel like a different dancer too.
Yeah, this is a little bit of neurosculpting. If you ever, a listener who ever done Mind Movie Magic in Denver with Lisa, there is this thing of neurosculpting where an object is the thing that triggers the memory or the transformation. And that can be 100% in clothes you put on.
I have something that Karine and Rafael, beautiful salsa couple from Brazil, they gave to me the first time I went to the World Championships, which is a little stone. They're like, look, they were mentoring us into the world, and they gave this little stone and said, look, this is for good luck. This is for good energy. What you do is every time you're going to perform or every time you're going to practice, like on the stage or something that is high stakes, something that is high stakes, use this stone, it'll give you. From then on, for the next 10 years, I would glue that stone to my skin. Sometimes it was on the hotel room and I'm like, I need to go back. I'm not going to perform unless I have that stone. It was just like this ritual. Became this ritual. Double socks. Always double socks. I could never perform with single socks. Like there's a whole thing there.
It's a whole thing. It's all explainable,
To me it is, but to other people it doesn't.
We go to Mind Movie Magic and he's explaining things. It makes all the sense to me. Sometimes all you need to do is to touch, like if you had the stone glued to your skin, you just touch the stone and stuff happens and good to go.
It's all the magic that maybe exists or maybe we create because we can be our own magicians, right?
Exactly. We create our own reality in our heads.
That's the important thing. Don't let others create the reality that you live in. And I think that's kind of like the line of the episode. Be aware, be conscious, be genuine, be authentic, be honest. Don't let others create the experience that you have within your dance, within your learning, within your journey, anytime.
Yes, exactly.
I think we cannot go any more than this.
And that's it, man.
So thank you for being here. We hope that you have learned something, enjoyed this episode. And if you have, and you want to help us, please like, follow, subscribe, share, do all the things to help us. Even if you thought that you have already followed us, please double check, because sometimes things happen and maybe you followed us in another platform, but not on this one. So thank you very much. We'll see you on the next episode. Beijos, beijos, abraços, and ciao.
Ciao.